As we discussed earlier, Jay Leno returned to the Tonight Show last night, and one longtime Leno critic has some thoughts he would love to share. So, joining us from his studio at Sirius XM Radio is the king of all media, Howard Stern. Howard, how you doing? Oh, this is good. I can't hear you, man. Hang on. Let's try one more time. We can hear you when you were talking to Steve Cohen before, but we can't hear Howard Stern. Let me try now. Howard, how are you?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Very good.
Oh, good. Okay.
All right,
you know, Harry, first of all, you can see me. I can't see you. I'm actually looking at a painting of you that is on my screen, so that's what I see. And, Harry, listen, I got to tell you something. You've never looked better.
Thank you very much.
But I want to just say, Harry, I don't do a lot of television interviews. I'm very much a man of mystery. But when your people called me up and said, you want me to comment on late night television,
right.
Man, did you get my juices flowing. Just the mere mention of Jay Leno's name makes me want to vomit. I don't like this guy. I don't disguise it. And probably what irritates me the most is people in show business are afraid to say how much they dislike Jay Leno, but I am not.
And why
I don't need him.
Does it go back years ago? I mean, what is it? It seems very deep-seated in you.
Well, first of all, let's look at the history of Jay Leno. Jay Leno pushed Johnny Carson out of The Tonight Show. That was number one. And he did it in a merciless way. And then Dave Letterman, who wanted the job, okay, he didn't get the job, fair enough. But look at the integrity of a David Letterman. David Letterman was rejected by NBC. He was told he was being passed over for the job. Did he sit there like a dog and take that from NBC? No, he did what any man would do. He got up and he moved over to CBS and took over the show.
Right.
Now, Jay Leno, on the other hand, seems to be the kind of showbiz animal that will not let go. Here is a guy who worked on The Tonight Show for 17 years. He was number one in his time slot.
Right.
He gets fired by NBC. They put on Conan O'Brien. What would you do as a man? Wouldn't you go to another network?
If you don't make partner, you're supposed to leave and go to another firm.
No, Jay is a lapdog. He goes on at 10 o'clock at night. He bombs there.
No, but
and after he bombs... Wait a second, Harry. You asked me a question I'm going to tell you, because I'm all worked up.
All right, I can tell
worked up.
I can tell that. Your heart's beating.
I'm really fired. I'm out of the box. You mentioned Jay Leno. It's like, slowly I turn. No, but seriously, Jay Leno then loses the 10 o'clock slot. And they say to him, they say to Jay, would you go back on at 11:30? And we'll put Conan on at 12. And Jay goes, yeah, well, I guess I'd do that, only if Conan's okay with it. So was Conan okay with it? No. He said, no, I'm not okay with that. I don't want to leave at 11:30. And what does Jay do? Jay takes the job.
But in the end of the day, this all comes down to money. It all is about the dough, and Jay has been spectacularly successful at 11:30, and NBC wakes up and says, we need that money back. The only way we can get it back is to put him back there.
Yeah, but, Jay doesn't need the money. That's, if this is all about money, Jay is a multi-millionaire many times over.
Yeah.
Just in terms of integrity, once you make that kind of money. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. I've worked for many people and been fired by them. I was fired by NBC many years ago. You know what I did? I didn't sit there like a lapdog and take it. I got up. I brushed myself off, and I went on terrestrial radio on a competing station, and I buried NBC into the ground. That's what you do. Jay should have dusted himself off, gone to another network. He certainly had the money and the offers.
Right.
And he should have gone and beaten Conan and beaten Dave and beaten Jimmy Kimmel, all these guys.
Is it true that you made this prediction? You told Conan that this is exactly what was going to happen?
I went on Conan O'Brien's show, and I turned to him and I said, you don't really think you're getting the Tonight Show. First of all, Jay completely sabotaged him. By going on at 10 o'clock, they gave Jay all the best guests.
Right.
They took away all of Conan O'Brien's excitement and thunder.
Right. And then there's also no lead-in between 10 and 11 because their audience is gone.
Absolutely. And Harry, the bottom line is this. Your name is Harry, right?
It used to be.
I'm just kidding. Harry, the bottom line is this. Jay is also a thief, and that's what gets my goat the most. I've always considered myself an original. I consider Dave an original, David Letterman. I think he's a pioneer. David Letterman once said in an interview, he started putting his mother on the air, and he said, I got that from Howard Stern. I admire that. What Jay does, Jay takes and lifts bits directly from my show, directly from Dave's show. Even this green car bit is a ripoff from a television show in England. They don't have an original thought on that show. Jay's signature bit, jaywalking, was lifted from my show. I've been doing this bit for years.
But still spectacularly successful. I have two very quick questions for you. Are you going to go back to free radio?
I don't miss free radio at all.
You don't miss free radio at all? And are you going to take Simon's place on Idol?
If they gave me $100 million to take Simon Cowell's place on Idol,
but that's chump change for you. $100 million. That's nothing
for 4 months' work, Harry. Even you would take that. Even Julie Chen would take that, and she's married to Les Moonves. So listen, I would of course consider it.
Right.
But the job is listen. Wouldn't you judge a karaoke contest for $100 million? I would. You'd have to be nuts.
The answer is yes.
In this economy, I would do it. Yeah, sure.
Good to see you, man. I see you in the park all the time running with you.
I know you're an avid runner. Everybody talks about you.
Dude.
You're a biker.
Yeah, we were going the opposite directions. All right, we got.
I hate those bike guys. Oh, you gotta go.
I'm gonna run you off the road next time.
You have absolutely nothing to go to. You should stick with me the rest of the night. All right, Harry. Good luck with that show.
Yeah.
Front page of the newspaper says that I never even got. You know what? Sometimes I forget to discuss stuff. I was going to talk about this a couple of days ago. That my theory on NBC getting rid of Jay Leno. Jay, never in the history of network television have you seen a guy that successful. I know. You can't believe he's successful either. Neither can I. But we've never seen a show that successful where he regularly beats Letterman and all the other dudes, whatever's on against him. We've never seen a guy that successful all of a sudden being released by NBC to bring in the Conan O'Brien show, which may or may not do better. Or, you know, who knows where that's going to end up. Right. So you don't, a bird in the hand kind of deal. You don't usually find that. So what I was going to tell you a couple of days ago is that they're just going to pay off Conan O'Brien. He's never going to see 11:30 at night. But this is a new twist, and I don't even know if I believe it yet. I'm not sure it's real.
Now you can't believe this?
Yeah, somehow I believe Leno will just end up at 11:30. But anyway, they're announcing today that, first of all, Jay Leno's such a douchebag. He's the #1 late-night guy. He gets like $20 million a year. He could be getting $50, $60 million a year, but he doesn't want it. Like, that just skeeves me out and makes me think he's a bigger asshole than I've ever... it's just like, oh, what is that? Like, what? Why is it you won't take more money?
Take the money, yeah.
Like, what are you trying to prove? You're every man. You're making $25 million. I mean, no one's relating to you.
Every man.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. He's like, I got enough money. And, I live on my stand-up and...
I'm not interested unless you're interested in cars.
Yeah, still doing any road gig.
He can find.
So beyond me or anyone who's ever done stand-up.
Yeah, you can't even relate to that. You're on heroin because you're on the road.
$25 million a year.
You'd be like, I'm off the road.
To him, the road is heroin. He has to keep doing it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, he's fucked up in his own way.
If you could become addicted to the road, you would then be healthy.
Well, you'd be rich.
So like, if he took another deal somewhere, he could make crazy money. That's what you're saying. Right?
So it says in the paper today, Jay Leno is moving to 10 o'clock at night. And what they're going to do, NBC, is have a regular variety show on at 10 o'clock at night starring Jay Leno, where he'll do his skits and interview people.
Every night, though.
Every night. Like the Tonight Show, except at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And
I'm worn out from that already.
Yeah, it sounds fatiguing. But the fact of the matter is, I was thinking about history in television, which I am a student of, because, quite frankly, I had no friends, so I watch TV. And Merv Griffin, years ago, had a syndicated show. It was on what was called Metro Media, which is now Fox. He had a syndicated show, I remember in New York, at 10 o'clock at night they'd air it on Channel 5 here in New York. And it would do quite well from what I remember for many years. That a lot of people who go to bed early, who can't stay up till 11:30 at night to watch The Tonight Show, might in fact be interested in a talk show at 10 o'clock at night. Yeah, that's right. That might work. It's not a crazy thought, but here's my thought. I think Jay Leno is going to stay at 11:30 at night, and they're just going to give Conan the heave-ho.
Again, how can you say that?
I could say whatever I want.
Okay.
Well,
I got 5 hours to fill.
The last time I did a Conan show, I said to him, are you ready to do all this? Like during the commercial, and he's like, Yeah, it's as done deal as possible. I mean, he's like, his entire crew has made real estate deals. You know, they're all going to L.A. And this makes sense with the idea of what television has become. The days of these expensive shows that NBC would put on a Wednesday night, like ER, are gone because these reality-type shows are cheap, and the Tonight Show is basically Leno's salary. That's it.
But they even say that in this press announcement that Jay Leno, for his new 10 o'clock time slot, which by the way is a lot more valuable
than 11:30.
If he can make it there, his salary is $20 million.
Right.
Again, he won't even take a raise. And I don't know, there's something so bizarre about that to me, that the guy could have more money to do his job, and he's not taking it. I mean, he's not running for public office. He's not Mayor Bloomberg who says, you know what, I'm a billionaire, I'll take $1 to run for mayor. You know, that I understand. I don't know what the game plan is there. Who's he trying to win over by his $20 million salary?
It doesn't mean anything to the audience.
No, he's not winning over the guy who sits there and goes, you know, Jay's he's like every man. He only takes $20 million. Yeah. You know, he's not winning me over with that. I don't get
his audience isn't hip either, I think. It's not considered like it's really, it reminds you of those people who love Larry the Cable Guy and NASCAR.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm sure a lot of people like NASCAR, but I'm just saying, you know, he's got that Midwestern, he won them over, you know. Yeah. And those people, right, they don't care what a guy's making. They just want to see him tell a joke about...
They don't even read his salary. They don't care.
Talk about Hillary Clinton.
I guess what I'm saying is I'm a regular $20 million guy, just like everyone else.
But I guess they figure that non-scripted shows like that's considered is the future. Why not give this guy prime time now? Maybe you can get more ratings on those other shows.
On the risky side, and let's not forget, it is much harder in prime time. Jay Leno at 11:30 at night gets a 5-share, and he's a hero. You get a 5-share in prime time, you can kiss your ass goodbye. It's a very brutal time slot because the networks rely on that time slot to make a lot of money.
And I don't know that anybody wants to see the same show every night at 10 o'clock.
I don't know either. But we'll find out.
Like Howard says, sometimes it depends on the guests. You know, I mean, if he can get big-time guests.
I wish he can.
Yeah.
You know what? It might work. Who knows?
Well, you were talking about the Merv Griffin thing here. That was a New York thing. That wasn't a national thing.
No, actually, it was a syndicated show. It wasn't. It was on at different times around the country.
Right. But he was never on at 10 o'clock all over the country. Is what I'm saying. That was a New York thing.
I remember him as a kid in the 70s. Was he ever on in the afternoon?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had different time slots.
That's what I remember seeing him.
He was up against Johnny Carson for a while and did okay. He did pretty good. If it was now, they'd keep him around. But who knows what it's going to be? But Jay's all proud of himself and. You know, I'm sure Jimmy Kimmel's happy because I know he was worried that Jay was going to come over to ABC.
And squeeze him out, yeah.
They say Jay was offered by syndicators and stuff as much as like $100 million a year. And that's too much money for me. I don't want that.
Pressure.
I feel like that.
Well, how is an edgy bit like jaywalking going to work in prime time? That's the big...
He says he's bringing that jaywalking with him, that bit he created.
Is he bringing John Melendez with him?
Is he bringing the whole show? Yeah. Is it going to be the Tonight Show only earlier?
Here's why I think John Melendez has job security. I think this is my theory. I have nothing to base it on, and I wish John well, but I have to figure by now Jay absolutely hates John. Like, can't even understand why he hired him. This is my guess. And... But John has job security, and I'll tell you why. I made such a fucking big deal to Jay about hiring John that I think he kind of feels like...
He can't let the experiment fail?
Well, yeah. I think in a way he just doesn't want to be the bad guy here now because he took John away from here. And,
well, it's been 5 years.
Yeah, he gave him enough, but I think... I can tell by the way they use John on The Tonight Show. The few times I've watched The Tonight Show, John's barely on it. And according to fans who post this kind of stuff, say John's barely on it. I think Jay had a much bigger role in mind for John, and then somehow it didn't work out.
Did he think John was like a young Dan Aykroyd or something with sketches?
No, I think he saw him as a very likable... remember John did I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here? He had him on as a guest, and his... You know what it was is Jay wasn't a big John fan. His head writer is a big fan of our show. That's where jaywalking and all our bits come from on The Tonight Show. 90% of the bits on The Tonight Show are from our show. I mean, let's be honest about it. And, you know, Jay can bullshit you all he wants.
I don't watch the show. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, well, trust me. I've seen the list. I don't watch the show either, but I've seen the list of bits, and they're very similar to a lot of things we do.
I know jaywalking in the celebrity interviews.
Yeah. Jaywalking, where he asks everyday people dumb questions, is from our show. And he, you know, he will bring those bits over, you know, to this new show, his classic bits, his signature bits, if you will. His signature reeks of a fraud. Where he's going to revolutionize primetime? Yeah. So who knows what's going to happen. You know, look, the guy barely beats Letterman. That's his big claim to fame. You know, if they had said that he was going to do a, you know, variety show one night a week, I'd have thought, wow, that's a great idea. See, I think he stands a better shot every night of the week. Like, really? Yeah, I think he might stand the shot with the crowd that goes, you know what, and that's an older crowd, but they might be like, you know what, I don't have till 11:30. 10 o'clock at night, I'll watch a variety show. I'll watch a talk show. Why not?
Yeah, you know, it's funny, like when I was...
Think about it.
When I was younger, I didn't, you know, in my 20s and shit, when I was struggling as a comic, I would pay a lot of attention to the late night shows. And I had a nocturnal existence, and I would say, what do you mean you can't stay up to watch Letterman? That's stupid. But now with the morning job, those shows are on late. And, you know, it's midnight before Letterman and Leno get their regular guest on.
I mean, yeah, I haven't seen those shows, and I can't tell you how long.
10 o'clock at night, if Jay Leno does a big wrap-up of the day with his monologue, I could see it working. I mean, I don't think it's a totally bizarre idea.
I don't think it's a totally bizarre idea, but...
But here's the catch.
Those CBS dramas are what is killing everybody else.
That's what he's up against.
Yeah.
He's up against primetime programming. Yeah, people really want that kind of entertainment. Yes, Fred?
Do you see that he has to win his time slot, or if he just makes a good showing?
If he makes a good showing and he can pull a decent second place even at the budget that a show like that costs to make, he could be a big hit.
I think Robin's onto something. I don't think he realizes what a bear trap he stepped into, as talented as Jay thinks he is or pretends to be. I mean, those, you know, CSIs are killers. I mean, you know, Steve Allen left The Tonight Show to do a variety show.
And he got killed. Well, listen, if you say Jay versus Letterman, one has a 5 and one has a 3, versus Jay versus Dancing with the Stars type kind of ratings, which I don't know if they'll have.
Well, I think Jay's going to have to do some dancing.
Yeah, Jay might have to dance with the stars.
Right.
But there's a bigger audience there to grab at.
That is true.
You know, it's weird because... In my head, I'm thinking, well, it's cheaper, but you know what? Is a CSI cost $20 million to produce? Probably not. If those actors are getting, you know, they're not well known in the beginning. I don't know. It doesn't sound that cheap.
Those shows make a ton of money because that's how big the audience is.
And right now, the economy's in the shitter.
Those shows are over $1 million a week to produce.
Oh,
because
sure.
Oh, easy. But I'm saying, are they $20 million? I mean, he's getting, well, $20 million a year he's getting. So what does that work out to a week?
$7 a week.
Yeah, when you do the math.
Maybe it is cheap. I guess it's cheaper overall to do the Tonight Show.
Yeah, that show will be cheaper than a primetime
And right
network
now, since they can't sell commercials or revenue, it's like it's going to end up being the place to go.
Right.
Right. Well, anyway, so Jay Leno going to 10 o'clock at night, and I hope he fails, personally.
But we know
I think he's a shithead. And that's just my feeling. And I'm glad I'll go on the Tonight Show when Conan's there.
Now, are you going to one day regret all the things you've said about Jay Leno?
No, I don't regret it for a minute. I think he's a shithead.
You know, because I've seen you, you know, kind of look back at some of the other people you've had
sure, I know what you're referring to. Like
feuds with, and then regret it at this point.
No, you know what, though? Right now, I can honestly tell you I don't regret a thing I'm saying. Now, in the future, if something happened where Jay somehow proved to me that he isn't the shithead that I think he is, well, you know, the autonomon or whatever the fuck that is, that robot motherfucker, well, I'll tell you what, then maybe I'll feel... you know, differently. But
or maybe you might develop some compassion for him, because this is not a happy man.
No, me or him?
Him. I think, actually, he's less happy than you.
I think Letterman, Leno, you're all miserable.
Yeah, but I think Jay is the most miserable of them all.
Yeah, he might be. It's weird because he really is... He's crazy. Like, he doesn't seem like a human being to me.
Right.
He isn't a
he's
human
almost inhuman. He could be cyborg.
If Jay captures Osama bin Laden and then cures smallpox, well... Maybe then I'll feel bad.
Well, you talk about people Howard had feuds with 20 years ago. You're thinking he's going to be on the air when he's 75?
No.
These are the last feuds.
It has nothing to do with whether he's
wrapping up the feuds.
It has nothing to do with whether he's on the air or not.
Oh, okay.
He has genuine remorse.
Yeah.
You know, like, for some of the things he said about other people. That's what I'm talking about. Is he going to sit around now, 20 years from now, I don't care where he is he going to feel the pain of
well,
these
I told
statements?
you, I called a guy and apologized to him because, you see, it was different than Jay Leno.
Well,
it's the first time I ever did it. The guy wasn't bragging on me. I didn't even know the guy, and I was being an asshole about him. I didn't know the guy. I didn't even know anything he did, so I was just being a jerk. So that's why I apologized.
He's not like a famous guy like Jay Leno.
No.
But, you know, you have pain over Soupy.
Soupy, I regret, yeah.
You have real pain over that.
What about John DeBella?
I do. I feel, in fact, I called him the other day to thank him for contributing. We have a big program coming up here on the channels, History of Howard Stern Part 2. It's real good.
They started it, didn't they?
No.
I thought, what was that? I heard
that was Part 1 replayed, and you're hearing promos for it.
Oh, okay.
But that's coming up in December. I think that starts in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a huge program. I mean, these guys have been working on this show for a year and a half. And one of the people who contributed vocal tracks and voiceovers was John DeBella when we get to the funeral part of the career. And so I called John, left him a message thanking him very much for participating because I was listening to some of it, and it was really fun to have him be part of it. And very sort of gracious of him, considering what a shit I was to the guy.
Well, I look at him now and I say, it took a toll on him.
Yeah, he doesn't look good. He's a beaten down guy. I mean, it was just tough. But like he even says, he goes, Howard imagines I was more affected by this than he knows. He goes, I wasn't that affected. He goes, I did my show. I did the best I could. He beat me. He said it took him a while. And, I still got a career in radio, and I'm okay. Like, maybe he's right.
How old of a guy is he?
He's, I think, about 2 years older than me. He's probably about 56 or so, 57.
Let me tell you something.
Still got the mustache.
It's great, though.
It's great, yeah.
I tell you, I saw him at Booker's birthday party last year, and Tom Chiasano and I were standing there on one level, and we see this guy walking up the steps, and Tom says to me, "Who's that old guy?"
Oh, good.
I know he's some old radio guy, but I can't place.
Oh, my God.
Tom's senile.
I can't place him up.
Mr. Blutarsky. 0.0. You're out. Finished at Faber, expelled. I want you off this campus at 9 o'clock Monday morning.